Have you ever felt that you're not good enough, that you're not important enough, that you're not smart enough, that you should be a certain way but you're not? Or have you ever felt that you're pretending to be something that you're not? So people are expecting you to know certain things, act a certain way, and you're doing that to please other people rather than be who you really are. Some really very personal and unfortunately uncomfortable questions. In the world now, there's apparently a new terminology for that. It's called Imposter Syndrome. And we come up with all these new terms, don't we, to describe certain things. But imposter means I'm pretending to be somebody I'm not, okay? So who lives their life that way? And is it possible that there's a lot of people living their life that way? And it's a very uncomfortable way to live. If people think that you're a certain person and you're not that person, then you're constantly living in fear that somebody's going to find out who you really are. Would that be fair? So I lived there for a little while. I became an exercise professional. I became a full-time exercise instructor when I was 15 years of age. And I was passionate and I was excited, and people wanted to do my classes and people wanted to be involved with me because I was really excited about being and doing exercise and inspiring people to exercise. But what I didn't do when I first came into the exercise profession is I didn't learn my anatomy, I didn't learn my physiology. I did enough to pass the test for my initial qualification. So I had the bit of paper to say that I was qualified, but I really didn't know how to exercise effectively, how the human body worked. I really couldn't answer questions properly because I didn't have an understanding of the stuff that I'd learned. I just learned it to pass the test. So technically I would suggest I was living as an imposter. I was pretending to be something that I'm not. And it all came to a very big and an uncomfortable, horrible experience. It came to a head when one of my clients, now people were paying to train with me. I was managing health clubs, which that's a different story because I had learnt business skills. So I was effectively creating profit, income, new members for health clubs. But I still hadn't learned my anatomy and physiology. But I was training people because the members at the health club liked me, they liked my positive attitude, and they wanted to exercise with me. And I was in great shape. So that's a really interesting thing to take note of because people look at you and say, well, you've got a healthy, fit, strong body and you're lean and you're energetic. I want to look like you. What do you do? So one of my clients came into my health club one day and she was limping. And she shared with me that she had an inflamed gracilis. Now I figured that the injury was, or the inflammation was in her leg because she was limping, but that's all I knew. And after she finished her session that day, I was literally personally embarrassed. I was disgusted with myself because here's this woman paying me money, but I had no clue what was really going on with her. So from that day forward and every day ever since, I've been studying the human body, anatomy, physiology, body systems, how the body works, all the different parts to the body and how they work together to keep us healthy, fit, strong, lean, energetic for the rest of our lives. That's all I've been studying every day of my life, literally every single day. Not only have I exercised every day of my life, and I always share this, that I never say that to impress, because if I told you that I brushed my teeth every day, or I had a shower every day, or I wore clothes every day, or I slept every night, or they're just normal things to do. And for me, that's what exercise is. It's just a normal part of life. So it's been my total complete focus and study for the many decades that I've lived on the planet. So how do you stop that feeling of I should know this, but I don't know it? People think I should know and I don't. That thing called imposter syndrome. And sort of the answer is pretty clear and pretty obvious. I was being an imposter. I was pretending to be a professional exercise person, but I didn't know my anatomy and physiology. So I just had to learn it. If you think that you're not good enough for something, get good at it. If you think that people think you are a certain way and you're not, tell them that you're not. This is one of my favorite answers to a question. When somebody says, Rowie, do you know the answer to this question? I say, no, I don't. But I'll find out, I'll learn, I'll study, I'll train, I'll educate because I want to find out the answer to that question. But I don't know the answer now. So I'm never pretending to know what I don't know. I'm never pretending to be somebody that I'm not. I'm just living my life as a person, a human being who wants to keep learning and wants to keep growing and wants to keep getting better. Is it possible that if you live like that, you'll never feel like an imposter? You won't suffer from imposter syndrome, as people are calling it now. So if you tell people that you know how the human body works, but you don't understand it and you can't answer questions effectively, surely you'll feel like an imposter. Worse now in the profession of exercise, there are a lot of people who are not even qualified. And the reason I know that, we have a fitness business college. A lot of people come to us to get qualified. They've already got clients, they've already got a gym, they're already charging people to train with them, but they have no understanding of how the human body works. I imagine that you would feel like an imposter in that situation. Maybe that's why you come to the college, to get qualified, because you feel like you need to have a piece of paper. I have a lot of people who start our program, they get a little bit of knowledge, then they go out and they call themselves a personal trainer, or they start a home exercise business, or they start an online social media inspiring, influencing, exciting people to exercise business, but they never finish their program, they're not qualified, they don't know how the human body works. And the reason I know that is when I ask them questions, which I don't anymore because they're very embarrassing. If you start asking your gym instructor, your personal trainer, your social media influencer questions about the human body, they'll often get very embarrassed, or they'll make some stuff up. And I don't want to put people in that situation because it's very uncomfortable. So what I'm asking now is, if you ever feel that you're not good enough, get good enough. If you ever feel that you're pretending to be somebody that you're not, just stop doing that. If you're in a situation where you've been given a great opportunity to run a business, to teach people how to exercise, to run a class for your son's soccer club, or be the coach for your daughter's netball club, learn how to do that. That's a beautiful thing about education. You don't have to pretend to know something, just go know it. Go learn it, train, education. It's so easy to get information now. Now, the only thing I'll put a side note to that, there's a lot of information. The only way that you really know whether the information is right or wrong, particularly when it comes to the human body, is that you study anatomy and physiology. So I was asked the question, Rowie, who do you trust? Who are the experts that you would listen to? Which cardiologists or which psychologists or plastic surgeons or endocrinologists? Who do you trust? And my answer is not one of them. And that's not being disrespectful. That's because endocrinologists disagree, cardiologists disagree, psychologists disagree, orthopedic surgeons disagree, naturopaths disagree. Everybody that's an expert in their particular area, you can find another expert that will disagree with them. So how do you know which one's right? Well, it's pretty easy. Work out for yourself how the human body works. And it's not a guessing process. Anatomy is a set science. We all have the same body. Technically, we all have one heart, 2 arms and 2 legs. We've got shoulders, we've got knees, we've got feet, we've got fingers. We've all got the same anatomy. Now, the anatomy of the body systems, we've all got a central nervous system, an endocrine system. We've got skeletal and muscular system, cardiovascular, respiratory system, digestive system, immune system. We've all got all of that. So why not just learn it? You've got to live in this body for the rest of your life. So learn how they work. What are they and how do they work? Now, there's some argument. There's no argument about anatomy. There's a little bit of argument about physiology. So how does all of that work together? But again, if you apply now logic and common sense, and I always ask that about any exercise. If you look at an exercise and you've got good anatomical knowledge, and you look at an exercise from what's happening at the joint, so put your x-ray goggles on, what's happening at the joint, is that a safe exercise or will it screw up the joint? What muscles are being used and what energy system is being used? Because if you waste your time doing an exercise in an energy system that doesn't overload the muscles or bones, you won't get fitter or stronger. So that's knowing what those energy systems are. So what is the phosphate system? How does the lactate system work? How does the aerobic system work? What are the waste products? How long do they last for? And what effect do they have on my body? That's all anatomy, because that's body systems. Part physiology, but again, those ones aren't argued because they've been studied over and over and over and over. And once you've got that knowledge about the human body, you'll never be an imposter, because if you don't know the answer, you'll say, well, I'm going to learn, I'm going to study, I'm going to train, I'm going to re-educate because I don't know the answer to that question. If you're some fool who pretends you know the answer and you give people answers to questions that you actually don't know are true, well, technically that's not even an imposter. That's just disrespectful, irresponsible, and very dangerous, isn't it? And that's one of the things, because I live in New Zealand, and Australia is not much different, and America's definitely the same, where you can call yourself a personal trainer and have no qualifications. You can call yourself a results coach. You can call yourself an online social media influencer. I'm a YouTuber, and have no technical knowledge. No one's going to check up that you've done any study. No one's going to check up that you're insured. No one's going to check up that you've got a first aid certificate. There's no policeman for that. It's all self-monitored. And unfortunately, a lot of people don't self-monitor, perhaps because they're imposters. If you call yourself an exercise professional and you've got no qualifications, what does that say about you? Now, the reverse of that, and I absolutely agree, there's a lot of people with qualifications, big, long lists of qualifications, and they still don't have any understanding of how the human body works. I deal with medical professionals all the time, and they say to me, Rowie, how come you know so much about the heart, the lungs, the brain, the central nervous system, the endocrine system? And I don't. I really don't. I'm just studying it every single day, and I'm also studying how they work together. So a cardiologist will often just study the heart, and an endocrinologist will just study the endocrine hormonal system, and an orthopedic surgeon will just study bones. But if you have a look at the human body as a complete picture, it's a really exciting thing to study. It's really interesting to study. You have to live in it, so you're actually studying your own home, which I think is really fascinating. And you'll never know everything. And what a beautiful thing to be able to say, I don't know the answer to that question, but I'm going to study it, learn, train, educate, come back to you with the answer, and we can research it, study it, analyze it together. So if you don't know, if you're not good enough, if you think you need to be a certain way, if you really believe that you need to live your life a certain way, go live that way. If you really believe that you need to know something and you don't know it, go learn it. If you want to call yourself a coach or a doctor or a lawyer or a landscape gardener or an interior designer, and you haven't got the qualifications or you don't really know what you're doing, go and learn, so you don't have to pretend, you don't have to be an imposter. You can be the real you. And is there any other way to live your life? If you want to live your life to the max, surely you've got to be the real you. Live your life to the max as you and keep on learning every single day. That's why I'm outside the library. Yeah.